is writing something you get into, or is something that you naturally be inclined to?
When you say get into it, you mean are you talking about habits, or how would you be saying that?
No, for example, I want to become a writer. I'm not a writer, but I say, listen, I'll give it a shot. But as a person, I don't usually express myself through writing. But do you think that someone can become a writer out of the blue, or is something that you naturally feel inclined to?
It's a dichotomy for me, in a way. I mean, when you're talking about becoming something, are you referring to doing it as a job, or doing it as a fun activity, something which you like, maybe a hobby even?
No, I think I'm referring to just writing, not as a job, but as for the fun of it.
I would recommend it to everyone.
Yeah, because if it becomes a job, then it's something that seems forced in a way.
It's I think writing as a form of release and clarification for what's in your mind as an outlet, I think is fantastic. I mean, if anything, when I'm not writing stories or novels or what have you, I would keep a diary all the time, which is actually the main output of my main output has been writing diaries, which is a way of sharpening things up. But I would recommend it certainly as something which is good for you, which can be therapeutic.
I can see the benefits of that. I'm not sure whether I mentioned it to you last time, but since December I started writing an online newsletter. I've been doing it weekly, and it's online. You can access it.
I will. Yeah.
Basically, I write down my challenges, struggles, achievements for that week. When it comes to building my brands, counting adventures, and whatnot. So it's kind of scribbles. I try to write it in the best way I can. I try to make it as engaging as possible. But yes, 3 months, 4 months down the line, I think it's been a release. At first, I wasn't very into it, but looking back, I think it's been sort of therapeutic as well. You can log you can time post your achievements, struggles, and you can look back into them and say, listen, okay, how did I deal with that in a particular time? It's sort of like, I think we mentioned it last time, we have certain music that we listened to when we were younger or in a particular period of our lives, and as soon as you listen to that genre or music, you immediately put yourself, it seems like time traveling. You put yourself in that situation, and if you read a log that you wrote 3 months back, you're able to go back in time into that particular period and reflect on it into a deeper level. So I think, in my case, it's journaling, not writing. I'm not writing a novel. It's like keeping a diary, much like your book, Agent Charlie, as we'll discuss later on.
Yes.
So
yeah. There's a couple words I take from that. One is deeper level, because I think when you're writing anything, particularly diary forms or anything that comes
like a journal. Yeah.
I think when you're writing anything, it reaches a level that you can't reach with anything else at all. When you're in the flow of it, when you're not thinking about it, I think that's really important. The other word you mentioned was scribbles, which I think is really good, because you have to play with it. It is essentially a form of play. It's a form of making stuff up, and that early stage is the inspiration. The innovation is the fun bit. There's heaps of hard work after that, but I think scribbling is fantastic, and it's really good for you. So yeah, I would say go for it. Anyone who can write, do it, and don't worry about what people think of you or it. And a lot of the writing you just keep for yourself, and as you say, it is like time traveling. You look at a diary from 10 years ago, you're going to cringe, you're going to laugh, you're going to think, oh, this is awful. But some bits of it you're going to find really interesting, and you can actually develop in the present from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all for it.
And when you write, obviously you don't create a masterpiece immediately. What is the process?
No, you do it straight off.
Straight off?
Masterpiece. Yeah, it's first draft. No. When you write, the first thing is the scribble.
Yeah.
That's it, and that's the best bit. But then you have to look at that. You have to work it. You have to. Somebody's compare it to making a sculpture. You chip away at it. The scribble is like a big block of granite or marble, and then the editing is chipping away and make it into a shape.
Okay, all right.
So I think that's a viable metaphor for it. So there is obviously there's a lot of work afterwards. We were talking last week about the difference between it being art and craft.
Yes.
I think art is always like the first draft or two, and then the craft is chipping away at it and making it into something that works as a story, that moves the audience. So there's a lot to say about it. A lot of people have written terrific books about writing. My favourite book about writing as a craft was Stephen King's On Writing, which I'd recommend to anyone who's taking up writing as a serious occupation. Anyway, so yes, lots to say about that.